Welcome to the Little Victorian Boy Podcast. I'm storyteller Little Victorian Boy. I'm very excited to tell you a story today. This story, as with all my podcast stories, is inspired by suggestions from my Patreon members. So if you'd like to be a part of the Little Victorian Boy creative process, you can do that. You can join my Patreon. You can donate. There's no set limit. You can donate whatever you think is fair. I suggest $5, but it's up to you. I'm leaving it up to you. Whatever you think it's worth. But with the Patreon, you get to make suggestions for the podcast and get some bonus content, including a bonus monthly podcast. Isn't that fun? That's where all the cool kids hang out. That's what I heard anyway. Speaking of cool kids, this next story is about very cool kids, me included. You see, I've got a very cool friend and he took me to a very cool event because I am in fact a pretty cool guy. The story is called Rat Fest and I hope you enjoy it. I first heard about Rat Festival from my good friend Ludwig. "Oh, you got to go to Rat Fest. It's so underground, so cool, my guy," Ludwig told me as he sipped champagne from the palm of his hand. We were grabbing brunch, me and Luddy. I had just purchased a bread machine and I wanted to celebrate with my coolest friend. Ludwig was from Schaumburg, Illinois, but ever since his semester at Berlin's DJ Academy for Gaunt Children, he talked with a German accent, wore wooden shoes, smoked his cigarettes backwards, and he knew all the coolest events in Chicago. "I don't know, Luddy. I just bought this bread machine. I feel like that's going to be my big life-changing event for the month." "My guy, a bread machine is not cool. Ratfest is cool. You're coming. I'm not taking 9 for an answer." So it was decided. Me and Ludwig would go to Ratfest. You can't buy tickets to Ratfest. It's not advertised on social media. You just have to know someone who knows where to find it. Luckily, I knew Ludwig. That's how all the coolest festivals operate. They're word of mouth, underground, and Ratfest was the most underground of them all. Literally, it was in a sewer. So there I was, following Ludwig and his vaguely European DJ friends into a manhole in the middle of a deserted street. Ludwig's entourage consisted of Poipon, a gender-fluid human statue, Flurg, a personal injury attorney who was getting into skull binding, and Eduardo, who looked exactly like Glenn Close as a pirate in the movie Hook. And anytime I mentioned Glenn Close around Eduardo, they'd change the subject, making me think, in fact, it was Glenn Close. Oh, and then there was me, a guy who just bought a bread machine. We walked through the sewer for about an hour, making numerous twists and turns. I began to worry that Ludwig didn't know where he was going, but anytime we'd come to a fork in the tunnel, he'd confidently say, "Oh yeah, definitely left. Oh, that's a right, my guy." "Hey, Luddy," I asked, "how do you know which way to go?" "You have to follow the rats, my guy, follow the rats." It was true. The rats were streaming through the sewer and we were following along. Then I started to hear the bass. I knew we were getting close. As the EDM sounds increased, so did the smell, and soon we reached it. The tunnel opened up into an immense cathedral-like room where numerous sewer lines converged. The walls were lined with scaffolding with thousands of dancing ravers, and a DJ booth was at the center, surrounded by a moat of rats. "That's DJ Piper, my guy," yelled Ludwig over the throbbing bass. "No one does frequency control like him, no one." I didn't know what frequency control meant, but I did notice that the music had some kind of hypnotic effect on the rats. They gathered on top of one another and as a group pulsated to the beat. It was both beautiful and made me want to vomit. Flurg handed me a balloon and said, "It's not a whippet," before leaving to dance with a naked alderman. Everyone had balloons in their hands. "What do I do with this?" I asked Ludwig. "You inhale it, my guy, but not yet. I'll tell you when." I stood on the scaffolding, trying to enjoy the music while Pipon licked the inside of my ear. I held my balloon and thought about my bread machine. Damn, can't wait to get home and make some dough. I'm gonna save so much time. Not to mention money on bread. Then the crowd began to roar in applause. The beat began to build with that familiar rise in tension that's in every EDM song. Poipon stopped licking my ear. Flurg and Glenn Close turned their attention to the DJ booth, and everyone was holding their balloons in anticipation. Then Ludwig screamed, "No!" We inhaled the contents of whatever not a whippet was, and then the beat dropped and I saw something quite strange. The sea of rats surged in a swarm, rising like an upside-down tornado, encircling DJ Pied Piper, a massive column of rats defying the laws of physics. Then it shifted in mid-air, forming into the shape of a human head, the head of deceased celebrity Paul Walker. Hey everyone, it's me, Paul Walker. I died in 2013. How tragic, right? Even if you weren't a fan of the Fast and the Furious franchise, you have to admit that final scene in Furious 7 when I drive away from Vin Diesel was a heartbreaking tribute. But I want to tell you, it's all okay. You don't have to be sad. The afterlife is real and it's great. All your favorite celebrities are here and we're constantly having sex. God is a giant snake and he's always cracking me up. Seriously, funny guy. God. I can't wait for you all to die and just hang out with me, Betty White, the Snake God, all for eternity. Anyway, glad I could share this message of hope with you all. Remember to live life a quarter mile at a time, and death is not the end. Then the music abruptly stopped. The rats fell out of formation, floating gently to the ground like feathers. DJ Pied Piper lay in the center, unconscious. The rats, awakening from their hypnotic state, gathered around the DJ and carried him off into the darkness of a connecting sewer line, like a stream of ants carrying the carcass of a crusty caterpillar through the Amazon. Oh my God, Paul Walker is so cool. Last year it was the original Avril Lavigne that came. Oh my God, you know the original Avril Lavigne, the one that died and then they replaced her with the other Avril Lavigne? You know that? You know that that's a real thing that happened? Yeah, we all believe that, yeah, said Ludwig. And then I went home, and boy, did I make some freaking bread, you guys. Joe, it was so good. Oh my God, that bread was so delicious. I'm so happy I bought that bread machine. It's really fun. It's honestly very fun. I mean, Ratfest, very cool. But working with that bread machine, it's saving me so much ding-dong time. And that's the story of Rat Festival. I hope you liked it. Thank you to the Patreon members that made the suggestions, that created that story. If you'd like to see what those suggestions are, donate to the Patreon. You can see the suggestions, make suggestions for the next podcast, get a bonus monthly podcast and some other secret content. And if you'd like to see some of my other comedy, you can follow me on TikTok, although I have been in a bit of a little feud with the old TikTok lately. That handle is at Little Victorian Boy. My Instagram handle is also at Little Victorian Boy. And I've got new content coming to YouTube very soon. And my YouTube channel is Little Victorian Boy. Well, have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful month of May. Goodbye.